My gran has been missing her old Samsung A40 since this gave up the ghost, well, a couple of years ago at this point. She's been rocking a Motorola phone, but it's really not up to the job. It's slow, it's cheap, and it's just a bit nasty. And if I'm honest, she absolutely hates it. She's now come back to me and said, Andrew, I need a new phone. I used to love my Samsung. I want a Samsung, but I've not got a big budget. Now, as a Samsung man myself for many years, I love a Samsung. I had a bunch of the flagship phones. I had an S7 Edge, I had another S7 Edge, and then I had an S8 Plus. Probably not a bunch, but they were brilliant phones. And I had those, rocking my S8 Plus all the way up until 2022, 2023, when I made the switch, sacrilege I know, to iPhone. And I'm still rocking the iPhone 14 Pro Max to this day, and it is doing me brilliantly. And I am the sort of person who will cling onto a phone for dear life. I'm going to spend my money, and then I'm going to use that phone for the next 10 years. I promise you that. Now, what we need to find is a phone that my gran can use for the next, maybe not 10 years, but a while, that isn't going to break the bank, and crucially, has the Samsung logo on it. Well, of course, the flagship phones weren't even a consideration at this point. We're nowhere near that budget. We've got £200 to play with. Thankfully, I did some late night stalking of Amazon and found whatever's in this box. Hey, it's a phone! There we go, the Samsung A16 5G. Okay, taking a look at this, we've actually got the 6GB model. This is confusing. It cannot make its mind up. Look at that, 6GB, light green. On the back here, it says 8GB and green. Now, I'm pretty sure I ordered the 4GB version, so we'll see what's actually running inside this phone. For 160 quid though, I'm sure we can make it work. First thing I'm noticing is the box is very, very slim. Is there gonna be a charging brick in here? Well, spoilers, no. We've got the SIM tool, that'll come in useful, we will use that. And we've got a USB-C cable. That's quite a bulky end, isn't it? But that's it. We've not got a charging brick. That is going to cause some confusion for my gran. It's at this point I just want to be like, Samsung, why? Why have you not included a charging brick? But then I remember, not even Apple include it in the iPhone anymore. And if Apple aren't going to include it in their flagship phone, Samsung are definitely not going to include it in one of their budget tier phones. But seriously though, a phone targeted at people who are going to be buying a budget phone that are potentially coming from these older devices that don't have USB-C charging, they're not the sort of people who are going to have a USB-C charging brick laying around at home. Like, the reasoning that Apple don't include one is because they assume you have one already. You had the previous iPhone, or you've got a MacBook, you're in the ecosystem. Some people, like my gran, are still rocking phones that have a micro USB port on them. So that's immediately another £15 to £20 that you're gonna have to fork out just to be able to even charge this new device. And honestly, whilst I kind of think not including a charging brick makes a lot of sense for flagship phones, for this budget category, I'm disappointed, Samsung. You know what? That's nice. I'd rock that. It's really light. Just to clarify, like, this phone is ridiculously light, but it's got 3 cameras. It looks the part, does it not? Got a nice big screen there. There's our fingerprint reader on the side. Nice volume rocker. An alright click to it. No buttons on this side, but we do have the SIM tray there. We've got a microphone at the top. We've got a speaker, I presume. Little microphone there. USB-C charging port, and our front-facing camera there. When it comes to the durability of this phone, well, it's not too bad. Very minimal flex as I push and pull and twist. Well, it twists a little bit, but nothing really to be worried about. Again, of course, this is going in a case, so who really cares? As long as it's not going to snap when you sit on it in your back pocket. Let's try and see how it reacts to putting the keys next to it. You know that feeling when you chuck your keys into the same pocket of your phone? You're like, oh no. Well, I'm safe to say the screen on this does pretty well. But would it do well with a razor? You know what? That's good. Nothing at all. Right, let's check out the back. Okay, yeah, so a little bit of a mark there, but again, that was me putting some pressure on with a sharp knife, so fair play to it. This is the one I'm nervous about when it comes to the razor blade. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to go any further. That's as I thought. It's going to easily come off with a knife. You know what, though? Overall, pretty durable phone to say it's £160. Plus, of course, it's my Gran. It's going in a wallet case, so that's going to add some extra protection too. Okay, so the phone itself feels decent. It's got a nice big screen, just setting that up as we go. And it's, well, a bit light, but not insultingly. Put a case on it, you'll never know the difference. It doesn't feel premium, but it doesn't feel cheap, if I'm honest. Yeah, we'll have to see how this performs. So, I've got it all set up, and, well, honestly, it's not as bad as I feared it would be. I thought it was going to be sluggish, I thought it was going to be slow, underperforming, but I think that extra 2GB of RAM has actually made a difference. This 6GB model, well, it's usable. It's still a bit slow, it's still a bit laggy when it comes to multitasking and heavier workloads, but for the user of this phone, my grandma, who's going to leave a bazillion Chrome tabs open by the way, not close any of her apps, I think it will still be usable. Which leaves me with one thing, I think the real issue for my Gran isn't actually going to be the speed of this phone, it's going to be its usability. By default, the One UI is probably one of the cleanest versions of Android you can get, which is probably why my Gran loves it and misses it so much. But it's still a bit cluttered. There's lots of apps, there's lots of small icons, lots of things you can press on by accident and not know why something isn't working how you'd expect it to. But I think we've got a plan for that, and this is where Samsung does really shine. There's two key features that I'm going to try enabling on this phone. Feature number one, which I think is going to be the biggest problem solver for my Gran to be able to use this phone and to not have to call me up every 2 minutes asking, Andrew, this thing's not working, is going to be easy mode. Now what easy mode does is it takes your normal Samsung One UI, makes some of the icons bigger, gets rid of some of the stuff that's going to confuse her, and just overall simplifies it to make it 10 times easier. Let's turn that on. And the main idea was going to try and help us with the performance issues, but really, they're not too problematic. I'm going to turn them on anyway, and that's to reduce the animations. That's in the accessibility settings. And my hope with that is it'll just make it a bit more snappy, speed up the phone a little bit for my Gran's use case, and I'm hoping that it'll result in less confusion of her going, the animation freaked out, but she doesn't know, she doesn't get that. She just sees a glitchy thing on a screen, and it's a phone call. My phone did this thing. I'm hoping that reduces that set of problems as well. Okay, so what about the cameras on this phone? Well, it's got a 50 megapixel main sensor with a 5 megapixel ultra-wide and a 2 megapixel macro camera. I'm quite interested by that. I don't know how useful it'll be. But let's also be realistic. At that £160 price point, you're definitely not getting flagship camera quality. The main camera is actually pretty decent in good daylight. The photos are bright, colourful, but maybe sometimes a bit too colourful. I mean, blame Samsung for that one. But they do look pleasing enough on the screen and decent enough for posting to Facebook, sending on WhatsApp, all the things your Gran might do, and pictures of the garden or when the grandkids are visiting. The ultra-wide camera on the back of the phone is only 5 megapixels, so it's not very detailed. It's fine for the occasional wider shots outside, but don't expect miracles. And the macro lens, well, if we're being honest, what's this for? This is absolutely useless. Should we get something? Yeah, no one's using that Samsung. As for the 13 megapixel front-facing camera, well, it's 1080p. It's recording me right now. It doesn't sound great either, but you know what? For video calls, quick selfie with someone else, it'll do the job. Especially in decent lighting conditions, not so much in the dark. The main camera though, it'll be more than adequate for what my Gran will need. Mainly that comes to taking photos of things she's selling on eBay. Just really don't expect amazing shots at night time. And that macro camera, forget about it. As for the super wide, well, as long as you don't care about super detailed photos, it also does the trick. At this price point, honestly, I say the cameras are acceptable. Alright, now the phone is optimised. It's the time for the moment of truth. Shall we go and see what my Gran thinks about her new Samsung A16 5G? This part is the real test. Let's see if we found her perfect budget Samsung phone upgrade. Here's your A16 5G. You've got your Facebook set up, your Gmail, your WhatsApp, your photos are the same as they used to be. your phone calls, and your text messages are there as well. What I've done as well is I've enabled this thing called easy mode. So this means that it's got bigger icons that you'll be easier to see without your glasses on. It's a bright screen, AMOLED. It's nice and big and should be more than doable for what you need to do.
It looks a lot better.
You feel a bit better?
Makes me feel a lot better. That's what I miss, when it tells me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All good? And there we have it. You saw her reaction. She's over the moon with this. Definitely got the Gran approval factor. And all for £160 plus charging brick and, of course, the wallet case. So quick final verdict on the A16 5G, specifically this 6GB model here. Out of the box, well, it's surprisingly performant for the money. I'm really impressed with it. Performance-wise, it's not too bad. But what I will say for the use case here with a grandma or a grandparent, the software is still quite complex, but I think you'll find that with most smartphones. But if you enable easy mode, turn off the animations, suddenly you have a fantastic device, perfect for those on a budget, or, of course, your grandparent. And, of course, for me, the most impressive feature of this is that massive AMOLED display. It looks brilliant. £160 phone screens shouldn't look this good. So I'm really happy that she's going to have the best looking screen that she's ever had on a phone. Although, she probably won't even notice. Plus, we have to give a mention for that really decent battery life. On a budget phone, 5,000 mAh really isn't anything to be laughed at. We took the phone from a little bit complex to something super friendly and easy to use for my grandma. It's the perfect upgrade for what she wanted, for that very specific job of being a grandma's phone. This is perfect and an absolute bargain. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Have you bought this phone for a grandparent of yours? Would you recommend it? Or have you got a phone that's not this phone that you think would be better suited? Thanks for watching. It's been a while since we've done this YouTube thing. Cheers.